My name is Hannah. Today, I will tell a story that I never thought I would dare to share before, but it's too crazy to keep to myself, and who knows, maybe there's a lesson in it. So here's the story. Alex and I met in college and have been together for nearly a decade. We were the couple everyone thought was perfect, always laughing, always sharing stories. But somewhere in the midst of raising 2 kids and juggling a busy life, things started to fade. Maybe some people understand that feeling, the slow drift into a loop of routine, how the small moments of connection gradually fade over time. One evening, when it was just the 2 of us having dinner, Alex brought up a rather unexpected idea. He started by saying he felt we were no longer connected like we used to be and suggested trying something unusual. At first, I was a bit shocked. He was talking about inviting new people into our social life. Not in an intimate way, just friends to make gatherings and conversations more lively. I was cautious, but agreed, thinking it might be a harmless way to bring some freshness into our social life. The following week, we went to a party hosted by one of Alex's friends. Alex had invited a few new faces, including 3 guys he had recently met. They were friendly, respectful, and genuinely fun. There was Dalit, a huge basketball fan, David, the tech-savvy guy who always had an interesting story to tell, and Luis, who had the warmest and most approachable personality in the group. Over the next few weeks, we began to hang out with this group regularly. Alex seemed genuinely happy with this new social model. But then something unexpected started to happen. I realized I really enjoyed the presence of these new friends, and I noticed they paid quite a bit of attention to me. Nothing inappropriate, just a bit more kindness than usual, a few compliments, and lots of laughter. For the first time in a long while, I felt a little spark, as if I was being noticed and admired. One evening, when Alex and I were at home after gathering, he asked me a question that completely caught me off guard. He asked if I felt a special connection with anyone among those new friends, saying that he had noticed how strangely well I got along with them. I tried to laugh it off, but he continued, suggesting that maybe a little harmless flirting wouldn't be such a bad thing for our marriage. That conversation opened up a new, unfamiliar territory. We started talking openly about feelings, even the ones we usually kept hidden. It was strange, maybe a bit uncomfortable, but also incredibly stimulating. I felt like we were breaking through some kind of barrier, reaching a new level of honesty. Alex admitted that he felt both excited and curious seeing me interact with others. I also shared that yes, it felt nice to be noticed again. Not long after, we had formed a kind of agreement, granting each other a bit of freedom in these friendships, knowing it was all just to bring some fresh excitement into our marriage. There was no plan to go further, no crossing the line. We were very clear about that. It was simply about keeping this spark alive. A week later, Alex suggested hosting a small get-together at our home. We invited Dalit, David, and Luis. It was a genuinely pleasant night. The guys brought food, we had a few drinks together, and for the first time, I felt completely comfortable in that circle of friends. Alex was like a fish in water, taking on the host role and encouraging everyone to have a good time. It felt like a social experiment, but one that was very real. As the evening wound down, I found myself in a small group with Dalit, David, and Luis. We talked about everything, the past, funny childhood stories, even a little bit about relationships. They made me laugh like I hadn't in years, and for a moment, I almost forgot about my situation. It was simply fun. Alex was nearby, smiling, as if encouraging me to enjoy the conversation. Out of the blue, David cracked a joke. "I can't believe a woman like you actually exists." I felt flattered, but quickly laughed it off, not thinking much of it. However, when I glanced over at Alex, I saw him nod, as if agreeing with the statement. That small moment, that look, said it all. He was completely okay with it. After everyone left, Alex and I sat down. He admitted that seeing me connect with others like that made him feel closer to me. It sounded strange, but in some way, it helped us rediscover the bond we once had. Like we were sharing a private secret in a public space, something only the 2 of us truly understood. That night, I felt closer to Alex than ever. But everything took a turn from there. We started inviting the guys over more often, and before long, I realized Alex was gradually pushing the boundaries of this experiment further. He encouraged me to talk to them more, to spend more time in their presence. It confused me. I didn't understand whether he genuinely liked it or was just trying to spice up our lives. One evening when Dalit, David, and Luis were hanging out at our place, Alex suggested we play a game, something silly, lighthearted. But somehow, as the game went on, it started to feel more like a test of limits than just a bit of fun. Nothing extreme happened, but the atmosphere in the room had shifted. I noticed the guys exchanging glances, and I began to feel uneasy, as if the game was leading to something I hadn't agreed to. Alex must have sensed my discomfort because he quickly suggested we change the subject. For the rest of the evening, we watched a movie, and thankfully, things lightened up. But as I sat there, I couldn't shake the feeling that this experiment was starting to take on a life of its own. Crossing lines I didn't feel comfortable with. After that night, I couldn't stop thinking about everything that had happened. Alex's curiosity had stirred something neither of us seemed to fully control anymore. Part of me enjoyed the attention, the excitement, something I hadn't felt in years. But another part of me was worried that we were venturing into dangerous territory. Alex noticed my hesitation and reassured me that we could stop any time. But each time we talked about it, he encouraged me to enjoy it and let go. He even admitted that he liked seeing me happy in a way he hadn't seen in a long time. The constant tug of war between curiosity and caution threw me into an emotional spiral. Then came the night that changed everything. Alex and I decided to host a barbecue in the backyard and invited Dalit, David, and Luis. We grilled meat together, laughed, told stories as usual. As the night went on, the guys began opening up about their lives, their families, the things that mattered most to them. A heartfelt conversation, the kind that makes you feel like you've known each other forever. At one point, Alex pulled me aside and whispered, "Look at you, how comfortable you are around them. You're glowing." I smiled, a bit embarrassed, but also unsure of what he meant. He leaned in and said, "Why don't you spend a little time with them, just to talk, get to know them a bit more?" I felt anxious, but still agreed, thinking it was just another friendly moment. And then I found myself in a corner of the yard, under the starry sky, with Dalit, David, and Luis. We talked about everything, from personal dreams to places we wanted to visit. Each person had a unique perspective on life, and it was refreshing to listen. Unexpectedly, Dalit started talking about relationships, mentioning that honesty was the most important thing to him. David agreed, sharing that loyalty was his top value. Luis, always calm and wise, added that trust is the foundation of any lasting relationship. Their words made me feel an unexpected sense of resonance, as if they were describing exactly what I felt was missing in my marriage, even though I had never admitted it. As the night came to an end, the guys packed up and got ready to leave. I found myself standing by the gate with them, feeling strangely emotional. Dalit looked at me and said, "Thanks for tonight. Hannah, you and Alex, you two really have something special." David nodded, adding, "It's not easy to find a couple who trust each other that much." Luis gave a warm smile and said, "Take care, Hannah." Their words echoed in my ears long after they had gone. I went back inside and saw Alex waiting, looking at me with deep eyes. I didn't know what he was thinking, but something had clearly changed between us. He asked if I enjoyed the evening, and I answered honestly, I did. There was something very freeing in that experience, even though nothing crossed the line. But Alex was still not satisfied. He kept asking if I felt anything special for any of them. The question made me uncomfortable. I hesitated, feeling like he wanted me to admit something that didn't actually exist. I said that while I really appreciated their presence, I had no intention of crossing any boundaries. However, his insistence made me feel uneasy. In the days that followed, Alex's curiosity grew more intense. He started asking me detailed questions about my interactions with those friends, repeating moments I had almost forgotten. At first, I thought he was just caught up in the excitement of this little social experiment. But gradually it became clear that he was looking for something more, as if he wanted me to feel things that I didn't actually feel. One evening, I finally confronted him, asked why he had taken things this far, why he kept pushing me to explore connections that were clearly just friendships. His answer surprised me. He confessed that he felt he wasn't enough, as if he no longer had the power to make me happy. He admitted that he thought bringing someone else into our lives might bring a fresh breeze and awaken something in me that he feared he could no longer provide. It was a heartbreaking moment, seeing the insecurity in his eyes. For years, I had always thought Alex was confident, the anchor in our marriage. But now, he was hurting and searching for answers in the wrong places. I told him he didn't have to worry. The happiness I felt was because of us, not anyone else. In that conversation, we reconnected in a way we hadn't in years. We acknowledged the cracks in our relationship, faced fears we had never spoken out loud, and we realized it wasn't the presence of someone else that could save a marriage. It was the courage to face insecurity and to create space for each other once again. And so, we made a commitment together. We agreed to stop the experiment and to focus on rebuilding what had been lost. We spent more time together, relearning the little things about each other, the likes, the habits, the desires. And slowly, we rediscovered the love that brought us together in the first place. We didn't need anyone else to feel alive. We just needed to remember why we fell in love. That journey wasn't easy, and it took a lot of time. But we got through it, stronger, with a deeper understanding of each other's needs and wounds. That experience taught us both that sometimes the hardest conversations are the ones that bring us closer than ever.